The Long Way Home, Chapter 11, Leadership. There was smoke on the wind. There was a horrible black column rising into the grey-blue winter sky. That column was where the homestead was. Carrie and Kel were there. He left Old Man Zim there and let the fence wire clatter to the weeds on the ground in a sprint towards his truck. "Him first, me later," someone gasped. Vincent thought it sounded like a kid he knew. Jason panted at the top of the boarding ramp in the light gravity aboard the Long Way, and tried to ignore the twitching cramp in his side. He insisted again, "Him first! I just need some water. I can wait." "Aye, sir," Tundra said, as she ran the tox scatter over Vincent's wound. She went pale. Jason didn't like it. "Call out what you need," he snapped. "Aye, I need an autodose loaded with antivenom synthesizer," she shakily called. "Cadet, go," Jason ordered, and the alarmed Corvian stumbled towards the head and the first aid supplies. "Clean then dose, you know this," Jason said. "Aye," she said as she dug in the small first aid kit she'd met him by and the semi-conscious Vincent with iodine flush. "I'll hold him down," came out of the radio. Vincent ignored it. He turned the key in the ignition, and the ethanol engine roared to life. The windshield wipers brushed a thin coating of snow off of the windshield as the truck's wheels sent icy mud spraying into the air. It was only a half-an-hour drive. He could make it in 10 minutes if he drove like a madman. He was mad with fear. Vincent thrashed and moaned beneath Jason's weight as he struggled to hold him still as Tundra forced an iodine solution into the wound with a fat plastic syringe. "Easy, Mr. Vincent. Easy. I know it hurts, I know," Jason muttered before calling. "Cadet Tran needs that autodoser." Cadet slid to a wide-eyed stop and shoved the autodoser towards Tundra as she washed the brown, rusty iodine solution away with purified water and took it from him to plug it into the tox scanner. "Do I include a painkiller?" she asked. "No," a familiar voice said over the radio as the truck slid to a spinning halt just before where the gate to the Frims homestead once stood. "Clear the venom first," the voice said as Vincent's boots crunched through the snow. His hot breath froze in a pale white cloud in front of his eyes as he ran. "Cadet," Jason snapped, and when the other boy looked his way, he cast a significant glance towards where Vi was huddled in on herself and hugging her tail as she rocked back and forth. Vincent still struggling beneath his meager might, but Cadet got him the hint and trotted over to fold the wing protectively over her. Jason shot him an approving nod. "You ready? He's going to thrash around again, Jason," Tundra said. "Aye, do it," he ordered. She did, and Vincent did thrash around. Jason's shoes skidded on the deck as he tried to hold the wounded leg still beneath the autodoser. There was a painful cramp growing across his left calf down to his foot. "Dosed," Tundra said. "Testing for clearance. Looks like the antivenom is binding, but there's some in the system. Use local." A Winter Jay shouted at Vincent as he left deep, sliding boot prints in the half-frozen mud. He ignored it. He could get there in time. This time it would be different. He didn't even spare his grandfather's tractor a glance when it smoldered in a slagged and shattered heap. It would be different. Blood on the snow. His friend lay face down with his hunting rifle in hand. Blood on the snow. "His heart's going crazy," Jason shouted. "Try and give him a sedative now." "But if you don't, he'll bleed out before you get the suture pod in." "Aye, sir," she said, and began working the controls in the autodoser. She plunged the end of the autodoser into Vincent's bicep, and the needle cycled with a hiss, click, clack. It would be different. Blood in the snow. His white pistol lay at her feet. Her curtain of sanguine was draped over her chest from the thin line in her face frozen in anguished terror. "Cal!" he roared, and charged into his blazing house. "Cal! Cal!" Vincent mumbled as the sedative took effect, and Tundra placed the suture pod on the open wound and activated it. His leg twitched under Jason's which. "Cal!" he mumbled again. "God almighty," Jason pleaded. "Please help my friend." "Cal!" Vincent thundered amongst the flames when he began to feel dizzy. His vision began to dim. The sound of the roaring flames faded to a mute drone, and Cal's name got stuck in his throat. Blackness. He would bolt upright in bed any second now, except he didn't. The blackness swallowed him, and the dreams didn't come. "Now we take care of you," Tundra said, with a valiant effort of authority. "Aye, now we can take care of me," Jason wheezed, as he rolled over off Vincent to plop onto the deck and pant. "Vi, Jason needs to cool down. You and Cadet, please go run a cool bath." "Yes, I can do that," Vi weakly said from behind Cadet's protective wing. Let me catch my breath. I'll drink a little water," Jason panted as he tried to get his cramping muscles in a slightly less painful position. "Aye, you need sodium and glucose," Tundra said softly in seafarer's negotiation. "I think Auntie Izzy would be proud of us. You sure you didn't want to join the Navy Med Corps or even the SAR Corps instead of the RNI? "I'm RNI all the way, even if Mom would rather I follow her instead of Dad, Tran." Jason gasped as he shared private language. Today proved it to me. I need to get right again and to check on Vi. She's afraid. Jason, Trondre said seriously, you're about to suffer heat stroke. You're dehydrated and you just went through an emergency. You need to take care of yourself first. You have no right to abuse yourself for the rest of us. You're not invincible. Jason smiled weakly at her concern and said, I know that. I know that. Look at that. You're being good with a person, Tran. You don't count, she scoffed as she padded over to the kitchen area of the galley to fetch Jason a glass of water. When she returned, he accepted it and sat up enough to sip at the water gratefully. You have cramps? Lots, Jason admitted. The ones in my legs hurt the worst, especially my left foot. Want me to stretch it for you? Please, Jason said. Do your best. One bath and recovery later, and Jason, Trondre, and Cadet were struggling to both drag Vincent to his bed and be gentle about it. Vi was in the galley doing something. Jason intended on checking in on her as soon as possible. However, they couldn't just leave Vincent unconscious on the deck in front of the boarding ramps. It'd be awfully rude if they did, hence the struggle. Jason had declared Vincent's cabin off limits from their very first day aboard, the long way for a reason. It wasn't the fact that Vincent straddled the line between tidy and messy, nor the man's gruff attitude with him and the other kids, nor even out of pure deference. No. The reason he didn't want the other kids to see the collection of bottles filling a small cardboard box sitting atop a shelf by Vincent's berth. Jason had made the rule to protect the others from being afraid that Vincent couldn't regulate, but had persisted to preserve the others' confidence in the man's obvious strength and experience. He noted that Cadet registered the bottles. He knew Trondre wouldn't miss them either. It was in the wake. He would deal with it when it came up. Getting the limply flopping man up onto his berth was difficult on account of how heavy he was. But once they'd finally got him comfortable, it was time to figure out a way to check on Vi. Luckily, Trondre presaged him with that. Cadet, can you please come with me below? It was nice to work with you there. Cadet looked at Jason, at Vincent's slowly breathing form, then at Trondre and nodded. Okay, he said. Okay. Vi was scampering back and forth across the kitchen area of the galley, working on 5 separate dishes when Jason steadied his knees. He checked the stovetop. Good. Nothing was overheat yet. Hey, Vi, he began, in the most gentle tone his exhausted body could muster. I'm sorry for scaring you. She dropped what she was doing immediately and barreled into his chest to fling her arms around his middle in a hug. I'm so glad you're okay, she cried. I'm okay, Jason softly cooed. Mr. Vincent is going to be okay. Now let's make sure that you're okay. She squeezed him more tightly. Jason wrapped his arms around her to return her embrace and told her softly, It's okay. Take your time. They came out of nowhere, and one bite knocked Mr. Vincent down, even though he's so strong. They almost got you too. Vi sobbed into Jason's belly. He patted her back and whispered, I know. It was scary. We shouldn't have let them sneak up on us like that. I'm sorry. There was so much blood. So much blood. So much blood. Jason interrupted her by pushing her out of the hug so that he could look her in the eye. Hey, if you weren't there, I wouldn't have been able to get Mr. Vincent back to the long way in time. Mr. Vincent is going to be okay because of you. Because of me? Aye. Because of you. Vi sniffed again, barreled into Jason for another quick hug, and wiped the tears from her eyes. Thank you, she said shakily. Thank you. I need to, I have to, everyone will be hungry. And I need to. It's okay. I'll fetch Tran for you. Sleep called to Jason, but he still had work to do. Down below, Jason began saying, Tran, would you mind helping Vi in the galley? Aye, sir, she said without hesitation, and gave him a quick 2 out of 4 armed one-sided hug on her way to the ladder. I know what you're doing, Cadet said accusingly. Oh, and what's that? Jason asked as he sat on the bottom rung of the ladder and looked where Cadet leaned against the workbench with his wings folded in front of himself. Checking in on us one by one. Aye, that is what I'm doing. An uncertain, hesitant silence grew between them until Cadet said, Well, I'm fine, so you can go check on Trandre. She's okay, Jason said evenly. I know since she kept her head to tell me off for working too much. She told you off? Cadet blurted out in surprise. Aye, she cares about me and knows me well. Yeah, well, maybe you should follow her advice. Aye, that's to come. What then? Jason stood up and deliberately walked over to Cadet without breaking eye contact. He put a hand on Cadet's shoulder and held him seriously. You did good. I'm glad that you were there to help. Cadet recoiled as if Jason had punched him, and once he was a safe distance away, he snarled, Shut up! I mean it. It was a good thing that you were there to help me. I couldn't comfort Vi and hold Mr. Vincent down at the same time. Thank you, Jason said with a patient candor. Whatever, Cadet muttered as he eyed Jason suspiciously. What do you want? Jason considered that for a beat, then answered, "Just to let you know I appreciate your help, Cadet. Seemed like something I ought to do." Cadet eyed him with moderately less suspicion and asked, "That all?" "That. And to see if you need anything." Cadet eyed him further before saying, "I ran away from my mum." "Aye, I figured," Jason agreed evenly. "I was another mouth to feed to her. Or really, just another mouth to not bother feeding. Just another hatchling she could get benefits for. She didn't even bother to give me a name of my own. I had to share my name. What do you have to say about that?" "You didn't deserve that. What she did to you was wrong. Awful. Maybe even evil," Jason said, softly, evenly. Cadet peered at Jason and asked, You believe me?" "Aye. You haven't let me down yet. I figure a little trust is the least I owe you." I guess we should go help with dinner, or I should. You should probably get some rest." "Aye. I should get some rest. Do you need anything else before that?" "Don't go blabbing all of this. Maybe I'll tell or maybe I won't. Just don't go blabbing." "Aye. I have just one more thing for me to do." Above decks in Vincent's quarters, Jason gently ran his thumb over the crudely carved crucifix and rosary. "Father, I don't exactly remember how to do this, but I figure the forgiveness thing will extend to that. I mean no disrespect or anything, and I hope that it's not presumptuous of me to think that. It's just that I usually have my little prayers. Nothing so formal, well, as this. I remember the Hail Mary and Our Father, so I'll be using those if you don't mind. I'll look up how to do this on the Long Ways database tomorrow. It's just, my friend is hurt, sir. He needs your help. Amen." End of chapter. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.